Hi everyone, welcome to Natural Wonders. Got a really cool painting that I'm going to do for you today. It's an oil painting, and I'm going to do a painting of the Argentine Patagonia. It's Argentine Patagonia mountains, so I'm really looking forward to doing this one because these are quite a distinctive mountains and stuff that we're going to be painting. Just going to run the colours across the screen for you all so that you can paint along with me, and I'm going to get stuck in and enjoy it. What I've actually done is I've just put some masking tape all the way along the bottom of the canvas, all the way along, just in there. So I'm just going to put some black gesso, which is an acrylic based primer. A lot of people get confused. It's just acrylics that you're using as a primer underneath the oils. This will dry before you go over it again with oils as well. It's another thing to keep in mind. I'm just going to put that down in there for now and then blend it out right up to the line of the tape, basically just over the tape. This is like his water line. We're going to have like a glacier coming here, and this is the water where it's melted into. Whether it's a lake or a river, I'm not quite sure, but I know these lovely lakes always seem to have this really nice phthalo green hue to them, like they have in Canada as well, and Alaska. But the Argentine Patagonia is somewhere I've never painted, and it's really beautiful mountains. I hope you all really enjoy this one. I know that I'm going to for sure. Right, now I'm just going to load the brush both sides to a chiseled edge. Just to a chiseled edge. And then up in here there's a little mountain that just comes down there. And it flows into this like dip in the middle where the glacier comes through. So I'm just going to paint that in black first, just with the gesso. Nice and quick in there. You don't have to spend time doing this, just blast it in with a 1-inch brush. You don't need the detail. This is just getting some dark down. We'll be going right over this. So you don't even have to be perfect. Like I say, I'm going to go over it. I just want it to be somewhere near what I'm after. Just in there. Some more paint. That's what I'm after. Block it in, and I will be putting liquid white over this afterwards, but this will still remain underneath, and it'll help keep the dark colours dark without having to use too much colour, because when you use a lot of colour with oils and you try and go over the top when you're doing wet on wet, the highlights don't want to stick. So by doing this, I'll only need a tiny bit of dark. Even when I put the liquid white over it, just a tiny little bit of dark would do that job for us. Now, this one nearly goes right up off the actual canvas. Right up there. That's it. And then comes down quite steep from that point onwards into this little crevice. In fact, it's a bit further back, so I can indicate that by just going like so. Block that in. I love painting mountains. It is a lot of fun, and like I say, these are a bit different to mountains that I've painted in the past. Different sort of shapes. They've got really funny pointy tops to them. These ones that we're going to be doing in here, really pointy tops that are quite unique. I've not seen them before until I saw this picture. I just have to do it for YouTube. Such a beautiful part of the world. Wish I knew a bit more about it, about the ecology there and stuff like that. All I know is that it's absolutely gorgeous, so it will be a good one to paint. Right. If anybody from there sees this video, drop me a line, because you could fill me in on a few things. To me, already it seems like it's a basalt rock, because obviously there's going to be volcanoes here and creating all of these lovely mountains. So it's, I put a guess on that it's basalt rock, like you have at the Giant's Causeway in Ireland. There. Straight black. You can leave a few little tiny white areas showing through, that's not that important, as long as you get the majority of it in. Nice and dark, it will be fine. Might even get some more just in there. That's cool. Right, on with the next stage. I just have to pull this off and just check. I've got a nice water line. Right, so I'm just going to apply some liquid white now to the brush, and all over this top edge I'm going to put some liquid white. Now this is dry, this black area now is dry, so I'm just going to blend this liquid white all the way up on the top of this canvas, up there, right into the corners, a thin even coat. The canvas beforehand has been triple primed, not just double primed, triple primed. It stops the liquid white from drying out basically, and it makes it blend perfect. If it dries out the liquid white, it won't blend. So by doing that, it'll really help it blend beautifully on your sky. You don't want it to dry out at all. And I'm actually going to bring some down into this area as well. And I'm going to put a very thin even coat over the dark, just in there. Not a lot. You want the dark to still remain there. Just enough so that the oils can mix with it basically. Saves me having to put linseed oil on there. Simple. Even put a bit down in there maybe. Not too fussed. Again, back up to the top corner. Blend that in up there. Nice and smooth. Make sure that that's dry though before you go over it. It's got to be totally and utterly dry. If you look on an angle, you can usually see where you've hit and where you've missed. Just make sure you go over every single part of the sky with this liquid white, with a small amount of this liquid white. And then I'm just going to use some of that liquid white over the gesso on that side as well. You'll still see where it is exactly. Like I say, just to save you having to put linseed oil on there. While I've got this on the brush, might as well do it. I don't mind doing this. I've used it like this a few times. I want to put the dart back in again afterwards. Now I'm just going to have a double check to make sure that there's plenty of that coming right down into that spot just there. There. Happy with that. Something about like what I was after. Right, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to just close off first. I'm going to start off with phthalo blue and ultramarine blue together. A nice mixture of the two. Maybe a tiny little bit of crimson as well. So first of all, tiny bit of crimson, ultramarine blue and phthalo blue together. We'll start off with that colour. Tap it out so you get a nice even distribution of paint through your bristles. There. Now with that colour, I'm just going to go into the top corner using crisscross strokes. Now this painting, the light's coming from left to right. Normally it's right to left for me usually when I'm doing paintings, but this time it's from left to right, so I need to keep that in my mind all the way through the painting. Let it get slightly lighter on this side, so I'm allowing it to mix with the liquid white a little bit more, so you get that effect there. And then when I come back over here, I'll probably reload again and get a fresh load of paint. There. Crisscross strokes, exaggerate that. That's the best way for blending and getting a nice even blend of your colours. Now I know that this is going to go right down to about there, and we'll have a few clouds on the horizon, so they need a bit of blue to stand out. Just in there. Now bring some of that right through, not worry too much. I'll blend all this a lot more afterwards. Back into my dark again, which is the blues together and the crimson, and then I'll just go into this top corner one more time. Blend it from dark to lighter at this side. Lighter in there because the light's coming down from left to right. And I wanted that to be quite strong. It comes down a bit there. Just want to check that out, and then I can blend from that darker colour up in there and blend it to this lighter colour, nice and softly. There's not much going on in the way of clouds. Now I'm just going to use a 1-inch brush, not a 1-inch, it's a 2-inch brush, and then with that I'm just going to go in on the horizon first, and I'm going to blend out those little brush strokes, those lines. I like to leave some of them in there, gives a bit of depth. Looks like little clouds going on in the background and stuff, but what a graduation, a nice graduation from light to dark. Same over in there, blend right over that. Making it a tiny bit lighter on the horizon, because all the time you're blending this, it's mixing with the liquid white. Now before I do that properly, I'm going to come back over here, otherwise I'll pick up too much of the darker blue. I'm just going to gently blend that. It's really nice and soft and goes from light to dark in a nice smooth way. I'm just continually using little X's, little tiny crisscross strokes, to get it to blend properly. And I want to work my way over this side. Have a good step back. When you step back, you can see any areas that need blending slightly more. Like just up in there needed it. Right, I'm happy with that. So all I do is use my knife, and I'm just going to pick up some phthalo blue, a little bit of ultramarine, crimson, quite a bit of crimson, and black. Now I'm going to mix 2 lots of this. I'm going to mix that one there, which is blue, crimson and black, and then at the side I'm just going to put a tiny bit there, and the majority of it there I'm going to mix with some Van Dyke brown, just in there. Van Dyke brown into that, it's for the very foreground mountains basically. I'm mixing it up now, it's not a problem. But you have to remember, now I've mixed it, I'm going to actually put it there. To remember that that's not just straight brown now. So just wipe my knife off. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a little filbert brush, and just in the sky there's a little bit of cloud in the background. Over here is where the most distant mountains are going to be, so we've got a little bit of an indication of a cloud just in there. See that you can even put a load of paint on like that and then just come back in and just blend it out. Smooth and soft like so. Like you get the clouds, you know, the ones that are floating at the top of the mountains. You get there early enough in the morning, actually up into the mountains. Same in Scotland. And then we've got some here that are a bit more like rounded clouds just on the horizon, just down in there. You can actually just scrub that as well underneath it. Once you actually put it in, just scrub underneath and you'll pick a bit of that colour up. Yeah, that's good. Just around there, because that's the distant mountains. Now I'm just going to use a blender brush. Come back in there and just gently soften that and blend it. Same with these bottom ones. Just going to soften them. Smart. Now get my palette knife, and with this dark colour I'm going to just put a tiny bit of white just there. Don't even need to use that, I can keep that separate, there's enough dark there. So for the distant mountains I want them a bit lighter in value. So by putting that bit of white in there, that will just, you can actually buy from the Bob Ross range a mountain mixture. I like to mix my own though. Right, so with that, just in the very background here, we've got some little mountains in the distance. I might not even use a knife for them. I might end up using my filbert as well. Still had some white on from before, so just run both sides through that, the filbert brush, sharp like a chiselled edge, and then just back in there we've got these little mountains which peak like so, they're quite sharp. Yeah, all coming in there, and then there's a part and then it goes down. Totally unique mountains are these. It's got a sharp point on it. See, this is going to go behind this foreground mountain, so I'm just putting the dark in for now. Just back in there. Now, same colour, and then it goes down here and back up again. There's another little ridge. Keep getting it to a sharp point though, because these are tiny little sharp, that's it, points on tops of these mountains in the background. But with the filbert, by using the filbert, it's a little bit more soft on the edges than a knife, so it'll make it instantly look further away. Right, and that comes down again, and then we start getting into some more closer up mountains now. So all I do is I just make it a tiny bit darker. Yeah. Just in the background. Just let that mix down there with the liquid white. Now we'll have have some snow in these areas, so I'm not going to cover it all up. I'm just going to work on the top edge now. Again, I wanted that to be quite darker, because just up in here we've got a really tall one just there. It's got a little tiny top to it. Comes down and then it has a, that's it. Yep, cool. There's one at the side of it just there. I'm into the raw dark colour now already. I'm going to keep loading it to that sharp point because they've all got these little sharp pointy tops on them. It's wonderful. And then that flies up there to one that's just there. Smart. Now, I'm really trying to focus because I know that there's another big one just in here for this big mountain that I'm doing in the foreground. It comes kind of like so, and then in between that there's another little one up there. There. Quite a really sharp one. There's that. And then that actually comes down to that. There. Now I'm just looking at the roundness of that. That part comes up to there. And then actually tails itself back there. Paint behind it, and then we've got, like so, and then a big one just coming up here. Now I'm going to start using the knife now. For the foreground mountains, I prefer to use the knife. So, same colour, good old dark paint, pull it out and cut a ridge across on the knife. Now, we've got this up here, and it comes down past that, and then again that's got a weird little top on it. Then that weird little top just comes down. At an angle, slight angle. See how much darker it gets with the knife though when you're using the knife that way. Again, a little bit coming up there. To that. Yeah, definitely a very funny shape. So we really want to get it accurate, as always. Notice I go from different angles all the time when I'm doing this. It's only that top edge I'm working on there, just the very top edge of that mountain. Not bothered at all what's going on elsewhere. Now, got his biggest peak just up here, and that goes right up there. So I'll come from that. I'll go silent when you're having to concentrate. I always do it. I'm going to have some snow on tops of these. Just for now, it's all about getting that sharp edge. Now I know that this side actually comes right through, like so. Just close that in with the knife, different angles. Right, now look at this thing. Same colour again. And then just up in here we've got a big mountain that's separate. This is behind this big one that I've just done. It's actually behind it, and it's funny because it's a more rounded type shape to it than the other. Again, I want a lot of snow on this, so I'm actually scraping quite a bit of the excess off, see that? Whereas with that one I'm leaving it because that's going to be in front of it. Right, and then that comes around there. Very, very regular shape is this. It's got snow on the top, so I'm not too worried about the top of this part. And then it's going to actually go back and off of the top there as well. Right off the top. There. Scrape off the majority of the excess cane that you've got on there. That's actually higher than I had it. There. Good. Scrape that back. Right, we've done pretty much all the hard part on this mountain now, which is getting the verticals how you want them to be. Very, very weird shapes to them, aren't they? Now, what I want to do, I've got to actually get some depth in this, so I'm just going to use a 1-inch brush. And I might even use a clean filbert brush as well.